For the last 3 years, if you were looking for an electric car that could do over 200 miles on a full charge, your only option was really the Chevrolet Bolt, especially if you didn't want a Tesla. Now, thankfully, as EVs continue to gain in popularity here in the States, we're seeing a huge influx of new competitors from different brands, which is why I'm back out here in the Santa Cruz Mountains to film this vehicle. This is the all-new 2019 Kia Niro EV, an all-electric version of the Niro that can do 239 miles of range and has nearly 300 foot-pounds of torque. But the biggest question I want answered, is this new Kia Niro EV a game changer in the electric car segment? That's what we're here to find out. So by now you guys should be pretty familiar with the Kia Niro. It's been on the market since 2017, and when Kia first showed off the vehicle, they showed off a conventional hybrid and then a plug-in version. This is now the all-electric one that Kia said was coming within the next couple of years, and basically in terms of the design, it looks very much identical to the Niro, which Kia builds as a crossover. These full LED headlights that you're seeing here are optional on this particular one. You have to go for an EX Premium like my tester where you'll have an LED turn signal, you'll have LED low and high beams, a new style of LED running light here at the lower fascia, and then these halogen fog lights, surprisingly, which I kind of wish that Kia just made them full LEDs. I do like the restyled front fascia. Because this is a full EV, the Kia Tiger Nose grille has basically been closed off because you don't need to cool an internal combustion engine, all to basically enhance the aerodynamics of this vehicle, which is, again, important when you're talking about an EV. Now, unlike most other electric cars, the charging port, Kia actually put it here at the front of the vehicle, and Kia actually made the DC fast charging as standard. If you look at something like the Chevrolet Bolt, you have to pay like $750 extra for this charging port. It basically uses the J1772 standard outlet. Kia says it'll take about 9.5 hours to charge if you use this. If you use the DC fast charging, Kia says that you'll be able to do about 80% charge in about 75 minutes or about 100 miles in 30 minutes, which is actually a little bit better than the Bolt, which does about 90 miles in 30 minutes. But if you guys look at Tesla's supercharger, that'll do about 170 miles in 30 minutes. But overall, the front fascia hasn't really changed. Kia just made the grille slightly more unique on the EV version, which is, again, what you kind of expected. Now, when you look at the side profile of the vehicle, of course, you're going to get special unique wheels. These are the 17-inch wheels. They're a little bit more aero finished to, again, help with the low rolling resistance and reduce the drag. They're wrapped in 215/55 R17 tires, which is a little bit too small for my taste, but again, this is all in the name of efficiency. Now, just like the regular Niros, Kia continues to build this as a crossover. You have that cladding that kind of makes this thing look a little bit more rugged. The ground clearance is pretty low though, at only 6.1 inches, so it's not really all that high in terms of a crossover. But at 106.3 inch long wheelbase and 172 inches long, this is about an inch longer overall than the regular Niro, which I'm not entirely sure why. But if you compare it to the Kona EV, this is about 8 inches longer. Same thing if you guys look at the Kia Soul EV. Now, at the rear of the Niro, the design, again, looks very conventional. It looks like the other Niro versions. You have LED combination taillights, which come on the EX Premium. The turn signals are an incandescent bulb, however, and then the rear fascia here you can see has the same unique blue trim with the well-integrated parking sensors. No visible exhaust tips, of course, because it does not have an internal combustion engine. Now, usually with EV vehicles, you make a sacrifice with the cargo area, but thankfully Kia doesn't make you do that with the Niro EV. The batteries are all lined across the floor, so it's like that skateboard platform. So instead, the cargo area is pretty much preserved. You're looking at around 18.5 cubic feet with the seats up. If you fold down the seats entirely, you're looking at around 53 cubic feet of space. So that's actually a reduction of like 1 cubic feet, but this is still very usable. Underneath the floor here, Kia gives you a little bit of storage, but there is no temporary spare tires, so you have to deal with the fix-a-flat kit. So moving on to the interior of the Niro EV, let's first take a look at the key fob for the vehicle. It's the standard key fob that we've seen on other Kias, not the newer key. It doesn't actually have any kind of remote start function on here. Kia says there will be an app that you can use where you can access the climate settings, turn on the air conditioning or the heater or whatnot. But the intelligent access key is standard, so just keep the key fob in your pocket. As you approach the Niro, you can see there's a button on the outside of the handle. If you lock that button there, it'll lock the vehicle and then the mirrors will electrically fold. If you want to unlock it, you have to touch the button again, and there's actually a light behind the door handle, and that will unlock the door for you. Now, looking at the inside of the Niro EV, it is basically identical to the conventional Niro, with the biggest change being that shifter in the center console. It's a different electronic shifter versus what you get in the other vehicles. The leather seats that you're seeing on this particular one are standard on the EX Premium. The regular EX will have like a cloth leatherette combination. These are also heated and ventilated, which is really nice. The seats are also a 10-way power adjustment, but no memory function. I was kind of hoping Kia would throw in a memory function, but you can't really get everything. Now, because this is supposedly a crossover, the step-in height is a little bit higher than what you get in a lot of the other conventional hatchback EVs, which is nice. And then when you shut the door, it sounds actually pretty solid, so it doesn't really surprise me. This is an all-new platform that's shared with the Hyundai Ioniq. Now, when you want to start the vehicle up, just put your foot on the brake and then push the power button here to turn everything on. Now, as you can see, the instrument cluster on this vehicle is unique. It does have basically an all LCD, aside from just a smaller LCD screen from the side on the left and the right, and then a bigger one in the center. It shows you all your different EV functions, and then a digital speedometer. The dashboard here is identical. You have the upgraded 8-inch display here. This is Kia Uvo infotainment system that is upgraded when you get the EX Premium. The smaller, or the EX model, will have a 7-inch display. Now, the dashboard here has a soft touch grading material. They haven't changed that. You have a lot of this blue accented trim that's included with the electric versions, or the plug-in hybrid had that, so now they include it on the EX, or on the full electric. The plastic down here is hard touch plastic, which is a little disappointing, but the graining is definitely nice. The door panel here is a slightly soft touch, which is nice. Same material that's on the dashboard. And then you have a padded area here where your armrests, a nice little grab handle here. You have this unique black trim here with the kind of like the blue pattern on the inside. It definitely looks pretty cool. Your mirror controls are here, window controls. You have one touch up, express up down for the front windows, only on the front, which is nice. The steering wheel, you can see, pretty much identical. It's a tilt telescoping steering wheel. The paddles are to control the levels of regen. Kia offers 4 different levels of regen, which I'll go over in the driving portion. You can see there's additional buttons here for your driver assistance package. The Kia Drive Wise package, all their full suite of driver assistance tech, is actually standard on this car, so that's a nice addition that I think Kia did a really good job with including. Down here you can see very conventional controls, volume knob, tuning knob, dual zone climate control, which is nice. The wireless charging pad that you're seeing here is only included on the EX Premium, so you want to go for that trim, in addition to getting the heated and cooled seats and the heated steering wheel. All really nice additions. Now, the transmission selector, you can see, is electronic. If you want to put into park, you push P. Put into drive, you just turn it to the right, it returns back to center. Turn it all the way to the left, that'll go into reverse. When you put the vehicle into reverse, you can see just a traditional backup camera. This car does have front and rear parking sensors. That's included on the EX Premium models, only on the EX Premium model. And then P, again, as I said, push the P button there to put into park. Drive modes, you can see Kia offers 4 different drive modes between Sport, Eco, Normal, and then if you push and hold the drive mode button, it goes into an Eco Plus, which literally tries to limit everything, and it also limits you to 60 miles an hour, which doesn't really make you go slower than 60. It just will beep incessantly when you guys do that. So use that only if you're really trying to maximize your MP or your MPGEs or whatnot. The electronic parking brake is over here. You have a nice little area here for your cup holders, which is nice. You have customizable mood lighting in the EX Premium, where you have different lighting here throughout. It definitely adds a nicer ambiance. You have another USB port in there for just charging, a good storage area over there. The glove compartment, as you can see, is pretty much the same size. It's a little bit on the smaller side. It's damped but not lined with felt. The seats, I find them to be actually really comfortable. I like the seats in this vehicle. Love that they're heated and cooled. I like the blue stitching. I haven't seen the interior of the base EX, which again has a cloth and leatherette combination. Above you there is a sunroof, just a standard size sunroof. This comes on the EX Premium. So really, to get the LED headlights, the upgraded infotainment system, the heated and cooled seats, you really should go for the EX Premium. A couple features that this vehicle doesn't have compared to the Kona EV: no heads-up display. Kia doesn't offer the heads-up display. But overall, if you guys also like the fact that the infotainment system is nicely integrated, the newer Hyundai Kia products have that new tablet-style screen. So unlike the Kona, the Niro EV has a much larger back seat because remember this wheelbase is about 4 inches bigger than the Kona. So you get around 36 inches of legroom, which is actually, Kia says, a little bit less than what you get in the Niro hybrid and plug-in hybrid because the batteries are all underneath this floor here, so it kind of raises the floor up. But thankfully, there's still a pretty good amount of space. The floor is almost entirely flat. You have rear seat air vents. No heated rear seats back here, surprisingly, but Kia does still give you a nice armrest with dual cup holders, and then the materials back here are hard touch plastic, so it is slightly a downgrade from the front seats, but thankfully you still get dual mat pockets. So if you have to actually put people back in the back seat of the Niro EV, you can very much do so. So when you look under the hood of the Niro EV, unlike other EVs in the segment, Kia actually allows you to see the electric motor underneath here, so you don't get that extra trunk like you get in some of the competitors. But what you do get is an entirely beefed up motor. This is basically a 150 kilowatt motor, which translates to 201 horsepower and 291 foot-pounds of torque. Now that is roughly double the power of Kia's current EV, the Soul EV. But again, we're gonna have a new Soul that'll have this exact powertrain. Now, the battery is basically the biggest change as well with this all-new powertrain. It's a 64 kilowatt hour battery, so it's double the capacity of the Soul EV, which allows this thing to travel up to 239 miles on a full charge. That is EPA certified. Now, if you're keeping score of the Kona EV, this car's platform mate, that's actually about 20 miles less than that vehicle. And the reason Kia says is because this is slightly bigger, it's slightly heavier. It's going to eat into that range a little bit. Now, like most electric cars, it uses a single speed reduction gear. All the Niros are front wheel drive, so this is not like a 2-motor all-wheel drive system, which I'm a little surprised considering this is a crossover. I was hoping that Kia would give this thing all-wheel drive. Now, MPG-E is also rated a little bit less than the Kona EV. This is rated at 123 on the highway, 108 in the city, so 112 combined. It's about 8 to 7 MPG less than what you get in the Niro, or in the Kona EV and in the Chevrolet Bolt. So efficiency is taking a hit and the range is taking a hit because it's a little bit of a bigger vehicle, but 0 to 60 times should be around the 6.5 second mark. So I'll be looking forward to taking this out on the road and see how this all performs. So as most of you probably know, I actually have a Model 3 Performance in the long-term fleet, which I try to drive as much as possible when I'm not driving press cars. So for this review, I'm going to try to remain as unbiased as possible because I will admit when you drive around in a Tesla, it does make you a little bit jaded when it comes to electric cars and your expectations. So this is actually probably one of the first EVs that I'm driving that's a non-Tesla that offers over 200 miles of range. Really, the Bolt's the only one available. Nissan's coming with the Leaf Plus, which offers 225 miles of range. And then, of course, there's the Kona EV. So Kia says 201 horsepower, almost 300 foot-pounds of torque. This is like more torque than a Type R. I'm going to put the drive mode here into Sport, and let's see how this thing drives. A little bit of wheel spin there. And like so many other EVs, this thing has kind of that whirring noise, that futuristic whirring noise. And this thing has a lot of torque off the line. And when you put your foot down, you feel that torque. I mean, that's the beauty about electric motors. It's that instant torque. As soon as you put your foot down, it just kind of shoves you back. Now, the Soul EV was the last, full electric Kia that I drove. That has roughly half the capacity of the battery, half the power. This literally feels like it's double the speed, which is wonderful. I would say 0 to 60 times would be in the mid 6 second range. Especially when as soon as you kind of put your foot to the floor. That's the thing about internal combustion engines. Most of you are probably very hesitant to just kind of literally bury your right foot down all the way to the floor instantly. But you feel that. I'm not making up that exaggeration. As soon as my foot goes to the floor, my head goes back into the headrest because electric motors have so much torque. Now, they're so fast off the line. So let me come to a stop here. I'm going to put it in sport mode, or I'm going to leave it in sport mode. I'm going to turn off the stability control, and we're going to floor it here. Ooh, there's some wheel spin there. That was hilarious. Now, I will say that I believe Kia might be limiting the torque of this vehicle off the line because I was expecting it to be a lot more violent off the line. I also really wish that Kia offered an all-wheel drive version of this. Put another motor in the back and give this thing an extra 150 horsepower. Come on. I mean, it's a crossover. You should offer it with all-wheel drive. I mean, that's probably why Kia has to limit the torque initially, because you just heard it, the front wheels just did a burnout, honestly, and that's pretty funny. But when you're not driving an electric car like this, most of you probably won't, although it's very easy to do so. How does the Niro drive? Well, because it's got the batteries mounted very low into the chassis, this is probably the most fun to drive Niro you can buy. It's the most powerful, and it's the quickest, and it's the most fun to drive because the chassis feels nice and low. The steering in this vehicle, even in sport, is super quick, feels really nice. Honestly, this car feels playful. I'm actually really surprised. This is a surprising car. So those of you who have never driven an EV, take one of these out, or a Bolt, because they are a lot of fun, and it's one of the reasons why EVs are growing in popularity so fast, because they are a ton of fun and they're a great daily driver. Visibility in this car is also excellent because it's not a weird shape or anything. It's just a very traditional crossover. You can see very well out of the front, good side mirrors. The full Kia driver assistance tech with full speed adaptive range cruise control is included, so you have that DriveWise package is standard. The seats also are comfortable. In terms of quietness, this is also very quiet, but I will say that the road noise creeps in a little bit more than I would like. I do wish it was a little bit quieter in terms of the road noise, but let's come to a stop here again. I'm gonna leave the traction control on this time. I'm gonna floor it. So quiet. Floored. A little soft. The power builds, and then now the torque leaves you back into your seat. And I would say 0 to 60 times, maybe around 7 seconds. It is a little bit disappointing, honestly. I don't like how Kia is limiting the torque initially there. But the handling is great, the seats are comfortable. This is seriously a wonderful daily driver that will appeal to at least 90% of people. It's got the space, it's got the efficiency, it's got the range. And really, it's just a pleasant car. Now, let me switch the drive modes here. Let me put it into its Eco. Let's put it into the Eco Plus mode. It's kind of like a Sport Plus, but now it's an Eco Plus. Because most of you, let's be honest, are going to be driving this thing a lot more efficiently. You're not going to be driving like a jerk the way I drive all the time, just for demonstration purposes. Now, let me go back the other direction that I was in. Surprisingly, in Eco Plus, the power is still there, but it definitely feels like the car is being, held back a little bit. When I put my foot down, if you put it all the way to the floor, it feels just as fast, but if you kind of just gradually lay into the throttle or the go pedal, you can feel that it is a little bit restrained. And again, Kia's doing that to improve the range. When I put into Eco Plus, the range improved from like 211 miles to 230. At most, I saw this thing show me about 255 miles of range on a full charge. So it sounds like Kia's range, the EPA's range at 239 is a little bit on the conservative side, which is good because you want it to be like that, especially in an EV car. Now, most EVs also offer what's called regenerative braking, and the Kia Niro offers 4 different levels of regenerative braking from 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is in level 3 right now, the highest setting, and I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. I wanted it to be a stronger regen. It's about probably half the strength of what you get in a Tesla when you have it on standard regen. Tesla either only offers low or standard, and it seems like they're the only brands to really give me that, oh my God, let's not touch the brake regen, which I really like. Some of you may not like the regen. It's something that you kind of have to get used to, but that one pedal driving is probably the best part about an EV. This offers it, but the slowdown rate is just not as aggressive as I would like it to be. So I hope that Kia eventually, adjusts that. If you'd like, you can basically pull and hold the paddle, and it'll even go into a stronger regen mode. So there's level 3, which is the highest, but if you pull and hold the left paddle, you can see the car will actually slow down to an almost stop, and it feels almost as strong as Tesla's regen there. But you have to hold down that paddle, which is a cool feature. Some of you may like being able to use the paddle shifter to use the brakes, which again, I'll speed up here and I'll pull and hold the paddle, and the car will slow down very much. And you can see it shows you different levels of regen and how much energy it's putting back into the battery, so that's all really great. But I have to say, I've driven the Niro regular hybrid, the Niro plug-in. The electric version is easily my favorite. This is the car that the Niro should have launched with. And it'll give the Chevrolet Bolt a run for its money. I'll be looking forward to driving the Leaf E+, and then if Tesla ever comes out with that $35,000 Model 3, that's really where it's going to put a huge wrench into this space, because even though this car doesn't feel as premium as the Tesla, I don't particularly think people are going to be cross-shopping the two, even though when the $35,000 model comes out, that offers 220 miles of range, roughly similar performance, although the Tesla, I will say, probably is faster because it's a rear drive car, just feels a little bit more balanced. But if you're looking for a more mainstream vehicle with, a hatchback to boot with conventional crossover looks, the Niro EV is definitely the one that you're going to want to put at the very top of your list. So when Kia first introduced the Niro a couple years ago, it's turned into a relatively strong seller for them, with the company moving nearly 30,000 units every year since it went on sale. So with the addition of the electric version of this vehicle, sales are only going to improve. And I think that after spending the day driving the Kia Niro EV, there's definitely going to be a lot of new competition coming into this segment. The Chevrolet Bolt especially should be worried, because unlike the Chevy, you don't have to deal with the frumpy looks that the Bolt gives you. And Kia basically offers you the same range, same acceleration, and same practicality that you get with the Bolt in a vehicle that looks a lot more conventional. It's one of the reasons why the Niro has been such a strong seller for them. So if you guys are looking to purchase one of these vehicles, what's it going to cost and when is it going to be available? Well, Kia says this will be coming to dealers at the end of February, with a starting price not yet announced. However, the Kona EV starts around $37,500. So Kia said that roughly this should be right around the same range. My only concern is this fully loaded EX Premium model could likely be in the low to mid $40,000 range, considering the fact that the Kona EV also is priced around the same. And another concern of mine is Kia is only going to be offering the Niro EV in 12 states. Basically, these are the zero emission states, California being one of them, and then a lot of the Northeast states. I'll be sure to list the states in the link in the description. But overall, I would like to see Kia offer this car with a dual motor all-wheel drive system, because it's supposed to be a crossover, and hopefully they expand, the availability to all 50 states. But with all that said, is the Niro going to be kind of a game changer in the EV segment? I think that it will be in terms of mainstream EVs, because at $37,500, it's going to help convince a lot of people to make the change to the EV, considering you have, almost 240 miles of range. You don't really have to deal with the range anxiety. And what another concern of mine is Kia and the Hyundai Kona, they actually offer a lifetime battery warranty, but Kia is not offering that lifetime battery warranty. So it may actually sway some of you to purchase the Kona instead of the Kia Niro EV. But I hope you guys have enjoyed my whole overview on this 2019 Kia Niro EV. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook. As always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.